Welcome, FlipoClock fans. I just got this clock in this evening. This is a Twemco AP-28. Now, this clock was sent in by Armando to allow me to see if I could fix it. He's challenged me to see if I'm going to be able to get this going again. What happened was he dropped it, and it's caused several problems. Now you can see the clock is not flipping properly, and many of you may be able to pick up on why that is. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Now, what I'm doing is I'm turning this, and I can hear the alarm click. It's not going off, but I can hear the selector of the alarm click, and it's not clicking at 12 where it should be. So I'm going to try to explain how to fix that as well. We're going to run into some other problems, as you'll see. Some of these problems are specific to the AP-28 in my experience. So we're going to get this thing apart, get the battery out, because it's easier to get the clock apart with the battery out. So just 3 screws on the bottom. And then you need to pry away the end. Now that knob needs to come off, because if you're prying away, that's going to fly off. And then you just gently pull off. At this point, the clock just slides out. Now, the clock's not working, and Armando did tell me that he believes he pulled out one of these leads here. Now, that's something that happens quite frequently on these clocks. If you start manipulating the clocks, the wire's not a good quality. Here's another thing that can happen when you drop your clock. You see that number's been jumbled. It's out of its hole. So you have to kind of bend it in half, and you see that there's the tab is bent. Now these tiles will be forgiving for a time or two, so it's going to be just fine. So I like to put the offending tab in first, so I can kind of protect it. Bend in the middle and back in place. No harm. Now you can see it is not flipping properly, and very often it's caused by the tile holdback, and you can see that's not supposed to be flipping around like that. That's usually secured in the back of a clock in the vintage clocks, but this clock, it's going to be on the inside, so we have to get into the clock. There's no way around it. After you get those 3 screws off, you're going to have to remove these E-clips. These want to just fly. They're like springs. They'll just fly. So we get the 2 E-clips off, and then there's 2 gears here that control the hours and the minutes. At that point, you just pull the clock apart. And you can see the tile holdback just floating freely. It needs to be up about like right there. And that back end needs to be secured into a slot. It's hard to see because this case here is black. But there is a slot in the back that it fits in nicely. There it is. So it's just got to rest there. It's not really secured in any other way, just by the force of the digits being there. There it is. So at this point, I just get everything back together. The tines that hold back the numbers before they flip, you need to be careful not to bend those. We'll worry about lining things up here in a second. It's not important right now. So it's just a matter of reassembly and putting the gears back the way they were. They get the two gears there. This little gear is slotted. It's shaped so when it turns the whole rod, and it'll turn the minutes. The bigger wheel has extensions that fit into the hours. Now there, the little gear turns the minutes, and the bigger gear is going to turn the hours. Now the other gear that we have laying there is the relationship between the minutes and the hours. So those two gears, the little one and the big one, are not connected. This one is going to take the motion from the minutes and translate it to the hours. So you got a clock that keeps time. So at this point is where I would get the minutes and the hours lined up. And it doesn't matter what hour you set it to. You just want to get it at 00, and then you will set your hours. Now right now they're moving. Let's see. We want that to be 9. So I'll take that off so they're not connected anymore. Minutes and hours are not connected anymore. Drop that to the 9, so it's 900. Now that second gear goes back in, which will lock the minutes and the hours together. And it should work. And it does. So you got to get the eclipse back in place before something moves out of the way. And here you can see I've already got the eclipse back. We're going to double check since the eclipse are in. Make sure it drops. The 2 drops right when it's supposed to. Okay, the next problem is the alarm. How do you get the alarm to go off when it's supposed to? See there, it's clicking. It's supposed to be going off. It's not going to because the wires are not connected. Very common problem in these AP-28s. So when people get the clocks apart, it doesn't take much back and forth movement to break off the wire right at the weld. Now the negative goes right there in the middle between those two. There's a jumper between those two spots there. The black will go there. So I'll do that later off camera. So what I'm doing now is I tested it. I put the positive and negative on the clock, and it did not tick, and it actually does tick. So I had to get in here and see what could be the problem. One of the things we got to look for is to make sure the gears are in place where they're supposed to be, and this is the correct orientation. What I end up finding is that I believe the gears got jumbled a little bit somehow. They were locked up, because there's other things that I look for in these clocks. You can see the copper winding there. That creates the electromagnetic field for this, which is a miniature whirligig. That's what runs the clock. You can see the magnet there. That's going to spin. So this quartz clock has a way to get the gears moving. I see there's 2 wires there, and that can break loose. Again, if you drop it, if you're moving things around like at this point, those wires will break off. Now I didn't mean to get the clock mechanism here in a jumble like this, but there it is. Again, it's dangerous because you could break those leads off of the solder points there. And there's my little coil. That's the handle. That's one of the knobs there. That has to go in first. That's the time set knob. Pretty sure the white one is the alarm. So again, this is where those leads could be pulled out. I did it on another clock, and I got lucky. I was able to solder it back to those points there. You can see those solder points. This has to go in first, this little plate here, and you have to have that black knob in place. The white one, the white handle can be put in later. This just fits right in. And once you get all the gears back where they go, you have to line things up and click it down. I forgot to mention, make sure the alarm button is turned on when you click it together. So what you have to do now to get the alarm to match, to go off when you want it to go off, that's what you have to do is that wheel, the alarm wheel, if you push it to the left, the alarm wheel itself, it'll come off of the post. At that point, you can set the alarm. So I'm going to get this little knob here. And once you hear the alarm go off, that's when you would press the wheel back on. So if you had it set for example, for 11, you let the alarm go off, then you press the alarm back on to 11. So I've done this. And you can see that now the alarm works correctly. It's just a matter now of getting everything back in place without messing something up. You should never have to force it in. If you're forcing it in, you're probably bending a tile. You forgot to take the battery out. It's just easier to get it in without that battery. Now that Penco is a brand of high tide. It's a Japanese company that sells just stuff. So Penco is just a promotional clock. You can find them on eBay. They run about $150, and they're cool. They're just really nice little clock. I think I'd like to have one. I guess I could have told Armando that this one was broke and I could have my own, but couldn't do that. Too late. You see how they took the digits and they made them smaller? Those digits could have been bigger, but they made them smaller, which makes the clock look muy pequeño. So it looks smaller than it is, but I love that color. Well, there it is, the Penco Twemco AP-28. Thanks for taking the time.